being recorded.
Okay, it is 6 p.m. on June 6th, 2023, and we will call to order the regular meeting of the Norfolk Board of Education. First on our agenda is sixth grade award presentation. Now, I understand that we have a speaker here to present an award. So I'd like to call you up.
The only one?
Is she our only speaker? Will you be presenting the
I
other
will.
awards? Yes, so
Oh, my goodness.
Sally
You're
Connor.
honored. Good evening, board. And good evening, one and all. I'm here to present the Dorothy Casey Deloy Award. But before I hand out the award, I'd like to give you a little background about her. And Norfolk is a little different than. Dorothy was raised in Norfolk. Her parents owned a local restaurant. The first thing they started was a hot dog stand on Shepherd Road. And it was a great hot dog stand, fabulous hot dogs. And Dorothy worked there. Then her family, her father and her mother, had a large restaurant right in the center of town on Greenwoods Road. And that was open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. At one time, Norfolk had 4 restaurants that were wonderful and 4 grocery stores, if you can believe that. I know people don't believe me when I say that. Anyway, she first started her career at the old Norfolk Center School as a school crossing guard. Then she transferred when this building was purchased people were concerned when this school was purchased that the road was dangerous with cars flying by. So she moved up here as school crossing guard. She was always dedicated to children. First thing she did, she was the first librarian. This school then had lots of room and space and so forth. And she started the first library that was really open, and she was the librarian. About 1975, Apple Computers started donating computers to elementary schools to introduce children to computers. By the early 80s, there was elementary software available for schools in different subjects, all kinds of subjects. A local company, Optimum Resource, located right down here in the what was the railroad station building, made some of the best. They were the top award-winning software company for education in America. They introduced a series called the Sticky Bear series, which had subjects in math, reading, etc., etc. Dot Deloy made the library into the computer sanctuary. Everyone went there for all day during the day. Optimum Resource, God bless them, donated all the software and which was floppy disks then, and the computers initially, which was great. So the school library became the overall computer center, and it was all under her guidance. The software received the top award in the United States from the Software Publishers Association in Silicon Valley. What happened was, because of that, every television station wanted to come and film Botel School and these children using this software. So it was a plug for Botel and really helped Botel. And they thought it was great. They were on TV. And so all the stations from Connecticut came, and some of Massachusetts, because we were first up front in doing that. Dorothy was dedicated to Botel in so many ways. And I know if she were here tonight, she would love to see the student here that's getting this wonderful award, a young man named Harrison Bennett. Congratulations.
Well, I do.
Oh, good.
Here
Well,
you
I'm
go.
glad.
That's a
Because
picture.
I want him to
Come on.
have.
There it is.
So Harry, if you and Mrs. Carr could stand in front of the podium and take a pic, Janet will take your picture.
Oh, okay.
Maybe come in front of it or wherever you think is
Oh,
good.
in front?
I think so.
Whatever you want. Well, let me take
I
my
think I'm
glasses
fine.
off. I wish I had hair like you. It's gorgeous.
Thank you very much.
Let's take a look at this. This looks pretty. Oh. At the top, on the computer, I bet there's something you can use.
Well, congratulations, Harry.
Congratulations.
And thank you, Sally, for that very nice walk down memory lane.
Yes. And as you can tell, Botel has a rich history of honoring its students and identifying their talents. And so Harry winning that award for most promise in the computer education field, that is really exciting. Our staff and sometimes teachers independently will identify our sixth graders who are most deserving. Sometimes it'll be a panel of 2 or 3 teachers or staff members. Sometimes a vote will go out to the whole staff of the student who is the most deserving. So I have awards this evening for creative writing, a service award, and the Gene Keeler Memorial Award. I'm going to read a little bit about them and announce the students who were chosen to receive these awards. So first, the Frank C. Riley Creative Writing Award is an award that was started in memory of Frank C. Riley, a member of the Munch family. We give this award every year to the student who has done outstanding work in creative writing. And this year, the award goes to Lorelei DeServa. Congratulations. Next is the Adele Wynn Service Cup Award. The Adele Wynn Service Award is named for a former teacher at Botel School and is given to the student who goes the extra mile. The student that rises above the desire to strike back, get even, or settle the score, slow to anger and quick to forgive. This year, the staff decided that Nicola Grimaldi was the most deserving. And finally, the Gene Keeler Memorial Award is also named for a former teacher at Botel and is presented to the student who shows sensitivity and compassion towards his or her fellow students, along with a respect for each person's differences. This also is a staff voting award, and this year the award goes to Reese Gruber. Nice job.
Excellent. Well, thank you and congratulations to each of you. It was really nice to see you today. You are absolutely welcome to stay for the remainder of the meeting. We will next go into public comment, but it's also okay if you've decided that you would like to go at this point. We are very proud of you though, and thank you for being such wonderful representatives of our school. I'm just going to turn the camera. Mm-hmm.
Must have been something she said.
Yeah. I don't have to stay.
Oh, I love this too. Yeah, it's really nice. Very good.
They used to give them at graduation.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that was very, very nice. Next on our agenda is public comments. We don't have, the members of the public have left. But is there anyone online?
No, I was expecting someone, but they're not there, so.
Okay.
No public comment.
Okay, then we will move on to the approval of the minutes of the regular meeting of May 2nd.
Motion to approve the minutes of the regular meeting of May 2nd.
All right.
I will second it.
Is there a second?
I will second it.
Good, all those in favor? Okay, motion
Abstain.
carries. There's an abstention from Donna. Okay, the motion still carries. Next, we have correspondence. I actually did get some correspondence I wanted to share with the board. First, we got a very, very nice invitation to an appreciation breakfast that will be held here at the school on June 15th from 8:15 to 8:45. It was addressed to the entire board, and I'll pass it along for everyone to take a look at. We also got this very nice card, and it seems as though I'm imagining that these were sent out to lots of people, so it was very nice. And so,
I saw that the hub posted that they got it and they were
Yeah.
excited about it.
Yeah.
The fire department got one and we shared it last night at our meeting.
nice. Excellent. That
I
was
do
really-
hope the community come to the celebration of learning.
Yes, our celebration of learning is coming up on Monday,
Right.
the 12th,
Yes, from 5 to 7.
from 5 to 7. Yeah, we'll mention that date again.
Yes.
Then that appreciation dinner is on the 15th, right? And that is from 8:15 to 8:45. I am like so good at these dates today. I don't know what's going on.
Yes.
I'm gonna write that down.
But we have to let Mary Pat know if we're coming.
Yes,
Right.
because we order food based on the amount of
so-
people who are able to attend.
Fiscal responsibility. Very important.
Yes.
Great. So that was one piece of correspondence I want to share. Another was, I received a note from Crystal Presler, who is the new, I don't know,
Grants and development
manager?
person.
What's that?
She's grants and development at the hub.
Yes, so she works at the hub. She's, and she sent along information about ACES International Education, which is a company that basically facilitates international exchange programs. And so she wanted to send this along to see if it was something that might be of interest to Botel. So I said that I would share the information. She said that these folks would be very happy to come out and talk with us. But I wanted to kind of bring it to everyone's attention. It seems like a very interesting idea. I'm not sure if exchange students would come for elementary school. That seems pretty young to leave from your country to come to another country. But it's always interesting to have these new ideas, and I did want to share it with the board and see if there was any interest in pursuing it at this time. I mean, I have the impression that we can mull on, we can think about it and see if it might work for us, do some research. But I did want to kind of just bring it to everyone's attention.
They would obviously be housed with other families in town, right?
They'd have to be, yeah.
Yeah.
So, well, the Gilbert, very, in our neighboring town, undertook this sort of project a long time ago. And I think that they went all in. They built dormitories, they spent a lot of money. I think, though, that that's a bit of a cautionary tale if we look at that.
Mm.
They did that, and I think at first they had quite a few students, as I understand. There's 50 or more students that came that way, but I think it's dwindled down to a much smaller number now, like in the single digits. And so,
Seems more peaceful to have them dorm with other families
with
in town that are
families,
willing, yeah.
You've got room at your house.
Interesting.
Sure.
And Crystal's the special projects and grants manager for the hub.
No, thank you.
Do you know if any of the other Region 7 schools are?
I don't think so. I think that this was something, Crystal, I included the note here that she sent, but she said, she understood that, like so many towns around here, Norfolk has a dwindling population, and this might be a way to, I don't know, spice things up, just an idea. And knowing that we have the Connecticut Asian Center that has opened on West Side Road there, that just thought that might be, another connection there to be made. So I just wanted to put it out there. We don't have to take any action on it, but I did want to share the information. And, maybe you can.
It's an interesting idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think the idea of young children coming half a globe away is probably pretty far-fetched, but, anything's possible. And it's never a bad idea to look at, other resources and other ideas or ways that we, could be building new communities.
Also, sometimes like coming further away offers a better education than what's provided for them.
True,
So,
that is definitely the goal, yeah.
I was just wondering if the high school or middle school was doing something, if there were siblings, if there were older,
Yeah.
younger siblings, that would
Yeah.
be a more, I don't know. I would feel more comfortable if my children were together.
Right, sure.
In another country than
Well,
if, my fourth grader were.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's like a process of getting to know people prior to just shipping them off.
Would you, if you're interested in having a presentation done or in considering this further, I could look to schedule this in the future.
I'll
that's
look at the
something-
information online first.
Take a look at the information online.
Would that something like legally the school be able to do? Like, because the school they would fall under school liability when they're here.
Well, I think that we'd have to see what that ACES program offers and what exactly their role is in the piece. So, I mean, why don't we ask them to come and talk with us?
Yeah,
Now,
okay.
at this point, it probably will be, we don't meet in July. We have a short meeting in August. It might be a September issue, a September kind of thing that we want to do. But we'll have some time then to do a little research on our own. But I'll let Crystal know that it's something we'd like to talk about in the fall. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sound all right with everybody? Is that I do?
Why not? If we say no in the beginning, then we don't know any of the details.
Absolutely.
So
Right.
It
Absolutely.
doesn't hurt to find out information.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. Okay, great. All right, so let's move on to our superintendent's report.
Okay, I have a few things to share with you. We met with the custodians.
Excuse me, could you please put the microphone closer to Rebecca? I just want to make sure that works.
We met with the custodians about a month ago. In the budget, we had put in for a 3% raise for them over the next 3 years. And they have agreed to increase their insurance cost share by 1% a year. And so I'm just bringing this to the board, if that's agreeable to the board, to make it official, a 3% increase for our 2 custodians, and with the understanding that they have also accepted a 1% increase in premium cost share for their insurance.
How does that work out? Does that, what is the amount of the 1% cost share generally, do you think?
We figured that out, Kathy. Was it something like $50 a year, $60 a year?
Yeah, I think so, yeah,
What percent are they paying now, cost share?
15.
15. So it
15.
would go up to
Go up to
16,
16,
and then
okay.
17, and then 18.
So they would increase it a percentage every year.
1% a year, and they would get 3% increase each year of the contract as well in their salary. The Public Works just completed their contract negotiations, and they settled at 2.5%. And typically our custodians would follow them, but our custodians don't make a whole lot of money, and we really want to be able to attract good custodians and keep them. And so we had put 3% in the budget so we can afford it. And I think that it's fair to offer them that, especially if they're going to increase their premium cost share in their insurance.
Well, one thing about increasing the cost share of the insurance is that insurance costs often increase quickly. So that gives us a little bit of protection there as they pay more and more of that. Okay, well, would anyone like to discuss that contract further or make a motion to move on accepting that contract?
Are they still getting 5 shirts and a pair of shoes and?
No, we've eliminated a lot of that language and grandfathered a lot of that in the contract a few years ago. So there really was no language. They had asked for a couple things that we had said no to. For instance, they came in, they wanted an 8% increase. They wanted to increase the hours of the work shift so that they could have more time to do the work. And the other thing that they wanted was that if they came to work when they weren't feeling well, and so they didn't use a sick day, that every 3 months we would give them an additional $50 for coming to work even, And I said, if you're sick, we want you to stay home. And we're not going to, pay you to come into work when you're not sick as a bonus, but I believe that was something that Ben had in his previous district and was put on the table. The only other change would be the legal changes relative to the contract, the union laws, which now make it's not legal to make joining a union mandatory. So that language was taken out of the contract, but that had to come out anyway. So we didn't agree to any of their other proposals. And so the only 2 changes in their contract would be the change in premium cost share and then the salary each year.
Okay, and this is the number that we had in our budget
Yeah.
already. So this is money that is
Yeah.
planned for
Mhm.
within our allotment.
I think our custodians take very good care of our school. I think they're probably not in a bad way, but probably at least, or the most overseen people, because you see them, they're in the background. Usually people don't see what they do.
Yeah, they're overlooked.
They're overlooked. Thank you. That was what I was looking for. I would make a motion to approve it.
Okay, I have a motion to approve. Is there a
Second.
second? All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, great, the motion carries.
Okay, and then just on that note, our personnel negotiation committee will need to start thinking about setting up meeting time because we are about to embark on our next teacher contract. August 15th is the start date on that. It feels like we just did it, but it was 3 years ago. So the clock starts ticking on August 15th. We haven't yet gotten any formal request for a start date from the CEA, but I will keep our personnel negotiation committee appraised of that correspondence. But as I said, starting mid-August, we'll begin to have those preliminary conversations, and we should probably plan amongst ourselves to meet before then to go through the teacher contract, to look at any language that the board might be interested in changing so that we can have proposals ready for that first or second meeting. I will get copies of the current teacher contract to, it's you, Jay, and Donna, right, Ann?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So I'll get the current contract to you and we can think about a mutually convenient time where we can sit after you've had a chance to read through it and talk about any changes that the board might be interested in making. And I'll share with you any changes that Lauren and I think might be worthwhile to consider.
Great, thank you.
Then, so you know that the pre-K rollout for extending to 5 days has been in our conversation. It was approved in the budget. And Lauren and I have both had some extensive conversations with Holly about what that would look like, what her concerns might be, and how we might provide whatever resources and supports that are necessary. And we have, I think, come up with a really great transition plan and a plan for next year. Typically, our pre-K kids start a couple weeks after our school year starts, and we will continue with that tradition. So mid-September, they would start, and they would start with a 3-day program for the first month or so. And then somewhere around mid-October, then we would expand the 3 mornings to 5 mornings. Meanwhile, the pre-K para will be coming in every morning and working with Holly and getting used to the routine and getting things ready for the pre-K kids. And we've arranged for summertime quite a bit of summertime for Holly and the para as well to plan for what this programming would look like, so as to make sure that we have an appropriate program for 4-year-olds, an appropriate program for 5-year-olds, and that neither of those are compromised. We will have 2 additional adults besides the teacher in the pre-K classroom every day that the pre-Kers are here. So we'll have a nice ratio of adults to students, and we can ensure that the program for pre-Kers can be overseen. And we agreed that for probably the first half of the year, the focus of the pre-K program would be really heavily play-based, weaving in where possible some of the underlying academic foundations, and that it would be getting them oriented to school and used to school routines and school behaviors and what we do in school, so that by January 1, Holly will know the kids, will understand who they are as learners to a great extent, and be able to plan for them to begin to increase that academic rigor of the pre-K program. And meanwhile, a lot of the programming will be overseen by the 2 paras for the pre-Kers, especially on the Mondays and Fridays, which were typically the heavy early morning academics for kindergartens, so that the kindergarten program is not in any way compromised. So that's our plan for pre-K. Any questions about that?
Have we figured out a way or made overtures to talk to the early learning centers in the area, in Norfolk?
Yeah,
To
I
help with that
believe
transition?
Holly, and I don't know if she has already, but there is a plan that she knows, and we've let Early Learning Center know that we will definitely make plans for Holly to get together with them and discuss our new pre-Kers who are coming in, who they are and who they are as learners, so that there's a transition from Early Learning Center to pre-K as well. So that's definitely going to happen.
Great. So in addition to the Norfolk Early Learning Center, there's also the South Norfolk Daycare, Donna Adams.
Yeah, Donna Adams.
And does she have children who will be coming to pre-K?
I don't know, but I think she should also be reached out to. I feel like she would be another one to be able to give some insight,
I think she has younger kids, but it doesn't hurt to reach out.
just in case,
Yeah.
just to keep the conversations happening. I think it's really
That's
smart.
nice to check that out.
Mhm.
Right. And then the most exciting thing I have for you is a few weeks ago, Sally Carr had called me to say that she and Larry had been in an antique shop, and they found these vintage posters. And she said they were in really great shape, and she wanted to buy them and donate them to Hotel School, with the understanding that they would be hung in a prominent place, and that the PTO or whomever would be able to provide them with something that they could place and cap right off. Can you see these if I put them here?
Yes.
Okay. So here's
Sorry, was that
a little bit of not necessarily a dilemma, but as they were in the office, some kids came in and they were snickering. So there's been a concern posed that maybe it's not appropriate to hang these, and that it would be more of a disruption than decor. My personal feeling is that it's part of educational history, and that in trying to not, to shield anything like this from kids would kind of be like censoring. And how can we really do that? Because there are so many different things. And, it reminded me of, I don't know if you're familiar with the Tim McGraw song, Remember When?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And there's a verse in there that says, don't you remember back when a hoe was a hoe, Coke was a Coke, and crack was what you were doing when you were cracking jokes. Back when a screw was a screw, the wind was all that blew, and when you said I'm down with that, well, it meant you had the flu. I missed back then. So I think that our kids are going to go through life seeing things and hearing things, and I'm just opining, this is just my opinion, but because there is a differing opinion, one that, it would be disruptive and not appropriate for kids, I thought this is a wonderful topic for the board to grapple with, and I am happy, as is Lauren, to defer to what you think is the right thing to do by our kids. do we give these back to Sally and say thank you, but, Dick is offensive or disruptive to kids? Or do we keep them and figure out where we hang them?
I say keep them and figure out where we hang them. They see this all over the internet. These exact things are all over the internet. So I don't know if it's so much shielding them of what they've already seen.
And, and learning not to snicker at something that's
Right.
not
The maturity level.
a thing is I think, a good
That's
lesson.
value. Well, we have recently met, a subcommittee has met to talk about how to make this room a room that celebrates history and education. And so what if these were brought to this room? And, so rather than being in a regular, in a more,
Where the community is gonna see that we get enough heat for stuff, and I'm totally about historical context and our kids learning things. But if we have community members coming in, and honestly, if it said, "Look, Henry," it would be a completely different thing, right? If the name was not Dick, kids will snicker at that, and the community will. And I understand the historical context. It's very important. These were important, sight word reading before we had phonics.
wait, this is the
I
call-in.
was gonna say,
This
this is the move that we're making away from literacy, right? We're moving away
Away
from,
from whole word,
exactly.
and
Because
it's,
this is not it's just not how we teach early literacy anymore. The other thing that comes to mind is that it's not a very inclusive representation of a student body, for trading in particular. I don't think we need to hide them or ban them or I don't know, forbid students from seeing them, but I don't know that it represents the educational direction that we're headed in or the inclusive nature of our small school with a big heart.
that's a very nice way of saying that, Amy. Thank you.
Okay, how about you, Donna?
And
I wonder what the people who are, if anybody watches this video, what would they think we're looking at?
Well,
I'm curious.
the thing about it, isn't like Dick short for Richard?
Yes, yeah.
But if it said Richard, that would be completely, in my opinion, it would be completely different. But it doesn't. And I have sons, and every time they walk by him, they're going to say something.
yeah, true.
Everything. And if we have them in here every time, imagine having like town meetings and people coming in and, oh, Botel's got the word Dick on their walls. Like, we don't really need that or I said it on the video, but that's my personal.
Yeah.
We speak as a board, so.
That's hard to say, right? Because, on the one hand, you don't want to you're not going to cancel culture, right? That's an idea. That's
Right.
one kind of extreme way to look at the things. On the other hand, we don't need to invite disruption. We don't need to celebrate a moment. And there's lots of times there's lots of moments in history we choose not to display on our walls, that sort of thing. That's a tough one, Mary Beth.
I think that would be disruptive, given the mentality and self-control of like 4th and 5th and 6th grade children. I don't think they should.
And community members, according to Ginger.
Yeah, I don't. I mean, they're beautifully done.
Yeah.
And, I grew up on this stuff, but it's not the way things are done anymore. And it's just opening up a can of worms for the kids to be disruptive. And I don't think so.
If the Historical Society had a exhibit on, mid 20th century education, that is in my opinion, that's an appropriate place for something like that.
So this was also given to us as a gift,
Yes.
right? So then we also need to think about the how to respond to a gift that maybe, if we decide that it's not the right choice for us, how to respond to that.
Can we put in the teachers lounge? Because I think they'd like to get a laugh. I'm sorry. Lauren's like, that's not a bad idea.
I just think like, and I get everyone's, and I agree, they're totally gonna make jokes or whatever. But when I look at them, I'm like, they see this on TikTok every day. They see this on social media.
Really? Like TikTok's looking at
Have you
like
not caught
the
up with what they're
1950s
doing?
primers?
This
Really?
particular book shows up on a page at least, and that particular one that says, look, Jane, that particular one is a very big one on social
I
media.
don't know your algorithm, but it's not on mine.
That might be more of a reason not to put them. You know?
Right. I know that there's memes and there's t-shirts and there's all of that too, which the donors probably don't know of that culture out there, that there are, you know, the meme culture that kind of goes off of this.
Mhm.
And that gets quite X-rated at times as well, so.
All right, well, so we've heard a lot of different opinions. It seems to me that maybe we should, it's okay to disagree. It's okay for us to not all have the same thoughts, but we need to make a decision. So,
Do we need to make a decision now about what we're doing with them, or can we reflect on it for a little bit?
yeah, it seems fine to reflect on them. It seems like you could put them in
We'll
a
hide
closet
them
for a little
again.
while. We could talk about it with the ACES guys, see how they feel about it, get some more opinions from the international world. Let's reflect on it, and we'll put it back on the agenda for our next meeting. That'll be fun.
August.
Be a good August meeting.
Or if we had some other pieces that could put it in
We
context,
can put it in context.
and show the sort of arc of progress in education and
Right.
semantics over time.
That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, I can
I mean,
find a Diane Ravitch book at home that can quote how they were used and stuff, but.
Before
let's
we,
take some time to reflect on
Yeah.
it. Think about, how it can be used, what its value could be, or what its disruptive nature could be, and how we want to weigh those things.
before we move forward, I do have to go.
Oh,
to
you
work, but I'm going to sign on Zoom on my way out.
okay,
But in case I lose you, the shared committee meeting has not met yet. We're meeting next week.
okay,
So there's nothing to report there,
thank you.
but I will Zoom in shortly.
Okay, all right, thank you. Be safe. Okay, was there anything else in your report?
Isn't that enough?
What else you got?
Just save the best for last.
That is all I have.
I
feel
like
like
the dramatic display.
yes.
That was really very well done, I have to say. Well done.
Yeah. And I don't think we get flustered easily. I'm sorry, I felt very flustered.
Okay, the principal's report.
I'm going to pass this around so you each have a copy. I'm sorry it wasn't in your packet. Just some updates. The flurry of spring assessments is complete, and we've had 100% participation in the Smarter Balance testing. So we'll be looking at those data soon and talking about how it matches our continuous growth plan. We've had many field trips to the Warner, People's Forest, and Roaring Brook. Those were all enjoyed by students and staff alike. And I just wanted to thank the PTO for their lovely staff appreciation luncheon, as well as all the work that goes into hosting and putting on the talent show. That's always an enjoyable night, and our staff really appreciated being treated. Some upcoming events. Tomorrow we have field day. On Friday, we're going to Camp Jewel from 1 to 3 for our Soar to Summer beach party. So we have had this Soar to Summer campaign throughout the past 6 weeks of school, and kind of milestones along the way when, we notice our students following our school rules. So we were trying to, originally the beach party was just going to be some fun theme that we did at school. And then, our staff members got talking, and I spoke with Ann, could we go to Toby pond, and, you know, that didn't end up working out. And thank you, Anne, for suggesting Camp Jewel. So I called, we're going for free. And little did I know that Colebrook goes every year for a whole year. And this year, Barcampstead School is also going on June 9th in the morning. So I think I know in previous years, the school has, you know, I think gone to Lake Compounce or done some other, you know, whole school end of the year activities. And I think that this is a great find. So I look forward to that for next year too. Like we talked about on Monday is the celebration of learning. That evening is a celebration of all, you know, the learning that our students have done in a variety of contexts throughout the building. The art show will be for viewing here. The makerspace will be open. The PIP projects that are able to be displayed will be in the back of the gym. And of course, like always, the classrooms are open and they're, you know, the students bring their parents around and show them the things that they've learned. And then at 6 o'clock is the concert. So it's a full fun evening. And I hope that many of you are able to join us. The following evening, Mary Beth and I will host the hour with administrators. We talked about the volunteer appreciation breakfast, followed by the good news gathering and awards assembly right afterwards. Promotions the following day, and on the 19th, it's the last day of school. It's hard to believe.
For the celebration of learning, did we send invitations to any of town officials?
Yep. Yes. Yeah, we sent them to Town Hall, the Board of Selectmen and Matt, Mike and the Board of Finance. We sent it to the fire department, the
Excellent.
hub. Yeah.
Just want to
Planning
make
and
sure.
zoning?
Pardon?
Planning and zoning?
I don't know.
Assessment appeal?
I leaned on Mary Pat. I know we invited the sewer district. I leaned on Mary Pat for her input and who would be the most appropriate. So.
I would just like to say I'm a justice of the peace and I did not receive an invitation.
Okay, well, you know, we didn't do double invitations, saving on postage.
Well, I thank you
So.
for that, because I know we had talked about it, and I think a lot of,
I think that was a
Yeah.
great idea.
and I was talking to someone today, and just about how we hear a lot from community members that they don't know what's going on in the school.
Yeah,
And, you know, for us to reach out and the kids to have, you know, invitations to them saying, come see what we're
Yeah.
doing, it can definitely help with those relations. And
yeah. I think
Hopefully
it's a
they'll show
good
up.
thing to put, I think
Yeah.
it's a really great tradition to start. We do so many wonderful things and inviting them to the Veterans Day Assembly, you know, the winter concert, any number of the play, you know, any number of things that happen. I think it's a great thing to continue.
The celebration of learning is so good because the kids are so proud of the academic achievements they've made. I feel like that's so
Yep.
empowering.
It is. I was in the early primary class probably a couple of weeks ago, and Miss Holly had taken the kids on a little journey from what their writing looked like at the beginning of the year to where it has come. I don't think that it probably took about 5 minutes for them to actually believe that that was what their work looked like in September. And they were so amazed at what they had learned. And, you know, that's an obvious difference in growth, but all of our kids are always so excited to show off what they've accomplished to their parents academically, and it'll be a fun night.
I know that the head of the town cemetery committee will be coming.
Great, yes, I had a feeling he might. And then on the back side of your page, Mary Beth mentioned that you wanted a little overview of the Joy Club. So I'll give you just a minute to read that and note that this club was formed at the request of students who approached Miss Crush about it, and you can read on and find out a little bit more.
is this like a subset of like the student government, student council in a way?
It's
Or,
kind of different. It's open to any 3rd through 6th graders who
Okay.
wanted to attend. And it's similar in some ways, but, you know, really focused kind of on that identity work
Right.
and acceptance and inclusion.
Well, so I asked to talk about this club because, the club, I read it and I understand it has a really nice inclusive message that I think is beautiful and fits my personal politics. But I also see where this can push the boundaries of being very close to a pride club or to a sexual identity club that I think has a more political implication. And so just where that fits in an elementary school, I just think is a good thing to talk about as a board and, and it just as something to think about in terms of like, what's the board's role in discussing or, I don't know, understanding what's offered and what's discussed. So
When does this club meet?
They meet during lunch and recess. So the kids, every Friday, they have lunch and give up their recess to come and talk about whatever the most current issue is.
Who runs it?
Mary Crush, our music and instrumental music teacher.
I'll say that the kids I know who are in this club do enjoy this time that they spend. They like
Yes.
this time, honestly, away from other kids that they find disruptive, and they
Mhm.
find this to be a calm space that
Yes.
is that doesn't appeal to the kids who are disruptive, I think.
Mhm.
And so I think that's sort of how they use it. I just thought it was something that the board should be aware of, and that we should, decide if there was something that we felt we needed to.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to kind of touch on that because I know both my children attend the Joy Club and they love it. I think some parts might be a little confusing, but I do question, where does it fit in elementary? Like, are they too young? That's I guess where I kind of teeter. Like you said, Anne, they enjoy it, they love going, but is it appropriate? If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think it has a lot to do with what exactly the message is, right? And how much of a is there political motivation or political movements made in the club? What do they do?
I'm glad you asked. This is so that this is what Mary wrote up for me, and then prior to that, in the email, it says, here's a description. We are currently working on an acceptance campaign where the Joy students want to educate their peers on how to show acceptance to others despite differences. Students will highlight different identities, learning, and in parentheses, learning disabilities, physical disabilities, race and culture, etc., and all the wonderful things about how we are all different, which makes us stronger. As an example, one of our students in grade 4 who has a learning disability of dyslexia went and talked to the kindergarten students about her disability so she could educate them on, what that means and what they can do if they see a classmate struggling. And that, I think, for her felt very empowering and gave her a platform to kind of meet that goal of celebrating everybody's and understanding the strengths that we have, even though sometimes it's easy to view them as differences or even weaknesses. So that's one example.
I have a question, and you might be able to answer this, Lauren. I know when Parker goes, there seems to be a very big emphasis on gay pride, transgender and stuff like that, which is completely fine. I think they made flags last week or whatever. Is that the main focus? Because I know when I asked Parker to describe it to me, what they do, he says the all-inclusive, like you said, accepting everyone for their things, but it seems to be a hyper focus on that. Is it just because it's Gay Pride Month, or is that the main focus of Joy Club?
It is not the main focus of Joy Club, but I think you're right in that because this is Pride Month, that could be one of the focus points for this month. It is not, my understanding and what Mary and I spoke about, or what she wrote about here, that is the primary focus at all.
Got ya. Because I know like now Parker questions why there isn't a pride flag with every American flag. Not that that's like a problem, but I'm like, he goes, well, we talk about it in Joy Club. So that was just like my one question. I guess where I kind of teeter, like, is it too confusing for them at this point?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, these questions of identity are difficult ones that definitely our society is struggling with, and we see kind of moving further and further down the age scale.
Yep.
Would
it be helpful if I spoke with the other principals in the feeder schools to find out if there are any similar clubs? I know at Mary's other elementary school, they do have a pride club where it is, again, focused solely on understanding who you are, celebrating differences, including others as a focus point, but they do call it a pride club at her elementary school. But it really is meant to be like pride in yourself, pride in your background, pride in your strengths, that type of thing. But I'd be happy to inquire to, the Barkhamsted School, Colebrook, the New Hartford School, and see if they have any similar types of clubs at their elementary school, if that would be helpful. If not, I won't.
No, I think that could be helpful. I would like to kind of,
Okay.
and to hear what the history is and how long have they been
Sure.
How long have they been together? Have they noticed any, like, what's the impact on have they been able to identify an impact on their school culture or their children or anything along those lines? I mean, it never hurts to do some of that sort of research.
Yeah.
Amy?
I think it's important.
Yeah, I love the idea of the Joy Club and the inclusiveness. I just wonder what content, at what line does it become confusing, or like you said, like the age line.
Well, but if confusion comes up, you need somewhere, a resource, if you're, and certainly if you're not getting it from your family. If there is confusion, I mean, I know a lot of people don't want those sorts of discussions to come up in the school setting, but if there's no other outlet, I mean, that there is a need for it, that any one or two students feel that it's a necessary and safe place, it's a necessary thing.
Right, and like
I would trust Mary to be very professional in terms of if things came up, to intervene in a way that, it became more personal for kids, and that she was able to help kids navigate some of that confusion, and for whatever individuals to be able to provide, additional resources or support, or to be a liaison, between the child and the family. But I don't see Mary as someone who is going to let this get out of control or inappropriate.
And she's mentioned to me numerous times of situations where kids, do bring up things, and she, has to rein them back in. She you may not know this, but she just got her master's in diversity, inclusion, and equity work. So she has a lot of background educationally that I think supports her in her ability to do this. And like what Mary Beth said, she has a great professionalism and balances that really well with creating a trusting environment for kids, but also maintaining appropriate boundaries. And that's not always an easy line to kind of traverse, but she does so very well. The kids respect her immensely. And I think that it's an opportunity. Mary and I can certainly, if that would be of comfort to you, she and I can meet and we can talk about the things that are coming up. I can, give you a heads up if that would help. But I think the fact that the kids asked for this speaks volumes.
I think we have more of an understanding or a push in educational arenas to take care of kids' social emotional health, especially coming out of the pandemic and what that did. I think this is another tool in the school's toolkit to make sure that we have a place where where children feel accepted and able to talk about things that are on their mind, and promote acceptance in others, and promote making everybody feel accepted, and, you know, spreading joy, like it says.
Yeah.
So
And I
it's
think it
important.
takes a lot of courage for kids to share some of these things, you know, whether it's about, you know, traditional dance that their heritage has taught them, and they, you know, maybe bring it to the group, or any, you know, if somebody is having a learning challenge and they want to be able to talk about that. So the fact that kids are also willing to talk in front of their peers, I think is really, really important. It creates a sense of trust, and it's courageous. So, you know, I think that that's a really, really important thing to foster.
I think that doesn't seem good.
I have a
Let me
question.
put that
Sorry.
in.
Oh, go ahead.
Here.
So as far as the Joy Club, like I said, Parker loves it, and I agree 1,000%. Like, kids feel comfortable doing it, and they love Miss Crush. If it was an option for parents to sign off on whether they want their kids to join or not, would that be something that would, I guess, eliminate maybe some question or some,
Go ahead,
like,
Janet, can you start over because you got disconnected?
oh, yeah, sorry, can you hear me? So what I was saying is, like, I know myself, like I said, Parker loves the Joy Club. He absolutely adores Miss Crush, and she does deliver, like, great stuff. I wonder if maybe giving some parents maybe the option of, if they want their kids to join the Joy Club, if they think it's not age appropriate or whatever, like a sign up, basically.
I think my question would be, what is not age appropriate? I think if the mission is to, or the purpose is to have space for students to gather where they can be themselves, where everyone feels welcome and accepted. I don't know what the inappropriateness of that space is.
Well, do we have a policy about joining clubs, about clubs and stuff like that, or activities during the school? Are there other clubs in the school that are?
Well, so the student council, although that didn't happen this year, but that would be a club. My
Do you have the password?
beloved Anna Feaster has come up to me every year wanting to start a club, and the fact that she will no longer be with us next year, I'm, you know, so sad. She, you know, advocated for a newspaper club, and Miss Chabot did that with her last year. So, I don't know that there is a policy. I think that if there are people, adults that are able to help kids, we tend to, you know, try to do it, even though it might be hard. So,
Do we need like parent permission slips to join?
That's what I was thinking, like maybe that would be, I mean, even if we just think of it as like, you know, just keeps the parents informed as to the clubs that their kids are in, so that they.
Well, I guess that was my point, like, kind of just so they know, so they're not caught off guard. Like, for me, I mean, like I said, Parker loves it. I can care less, but I can see where it can be, some parents might want to know.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I lost you guys.
I'm trying to manage the. Okay, so. Well, then on this, do I continue this discussion again? Well, just like, it's a difficult meeting.
I wouldn't want to single out any club in the school for special treatment. Or special restriction. So if we had a policy about informing parents when their child joins the newspaper club or the
student council.
student council or,
Yep.
or any other clubs. But I don't like an unintended message coming from the board saying, but be careful of this one. This one needs special permission. Special.
Definitely, there's going to be a policy has to be for every club, that would also probably be like a drama club. Now, of course, for the kids who go to like the theater stuff, that's all after school, so they do have permission slips for that.
Yeah.
But I wonder. There is something to be said for the fact that if this is a safe space kind of club, when you have to get a whole bunch of permission from your parents, it might negate the safety of that.
Well, I think to John's point, if kids don't have the freedom to make a decision to talk about something that they may not be able to talk about at home, but they can safely talk about it at school.
Yeah, and
Having-
if getting permission presents any barrier too.
Yeah, that it could present a barrier. And that, we don't know the impact that would have on kids.
How long's this club been?
How long has it been in existence? It started this year. I think it maybe has been 2 or 3 months.
So the kids approached the music teacher and requested.
Yeah.
So that's good enough for me.
Okay, I got it.
Is it recording?
Yeah.
Oh, because you're the host now.
Because I'm the host.
Yay. Well done.
I'm the host of the most.
I can still see you guys.
Wait, what?
Okay, well, so here's the question. We don't have to take any action at all. We could take action to say we want to adjust the way that clubs are managed. Or we could put this again in that pile of, we've got to think about this and, give us some time to consider its impact. How are we feeling of those 3 options?
Well, I have a question. Did somebody actually particularly bring this up as an issue, or was it just brought as a topic of discussion for the board?
I brought it up because I had people ask me about like, I hear that there's a pride club at Botel. Don't you think those kids are too young for that? And I would
So
like,
let's brought up as an issue.
Gotcha.
yes,
So it was like a parent concern.
community member concern.
Yeah, community members. Okay.
I would say, and I was like, well, there's a joy club. I don't think it's specifically a pride club. So I did, I gave the answer that I knew what I knew about it. But I have to say, when Lorelai came home and told me about it, because she's in the joy club and loves it, by the way, I was a little bit shocked by it at first, because I am used to the idea of a pride club. I mean, it sounds like pride club. It just does. And now I could be making a leap that, but I understand why people made that leap. I was a little shocked at first when she talked. As I've already said, it agrees with my personal politics, but I'm just, I was just a little shocked when she talked.
And I apologize for that, because in hindsight, I think this should be moving forward, something that we just do as a practice. When a new club is going to be formed, that we inform the board, we've created a new club. This is the purpose, this is the context of it, this is the genesis of it, so that the board is not caught off guard. I didn't see the conflict or an issue, it didn't just occur to me that there would be, any problem with a joy club, given the purpose and the,
Right.
motivation
Well-
behind it. But I do think that it's important for the board to know, and you shouldn't have had to come and ask me after the fact. So I do apologize for that.
Like, it would have been, so I asked Laura about it, but we were chatting about it. But actually, if I had, I think I would have, or even if she had been given this, maybe she was, I don't know. But I would have liked to read this, maybe, because I just think that would be useful. And I appreciate that rings true to me, the idea we can't be singling out like, oh, be careful of this dangerous club. But I think it would be, I don't think we'd be like truthful if we didn't acknowledge the fact that there are certain issues that are more political, that are more politicized in our community, or, in our society. And so I feel like I want to make a rule that is important, that should obviously be the same for all the clubs, but I think it is it's kind of when it's like a hot button issue or something like that, I do feel like that is one that probably needs a little more
Is it,
just knowledge about it.
is the Joy Club a pride club? Because that's not how it reads in the purpose of this club. So is it the adults in the situation putting an intent and purpose on the club?
Probably.
And I
that's
will
not fair.
say
Yeah.
that when the kids approached Mary about the club, they wanted it to be more like a pride club. So I think that's how it got started for them.
Okay.
And Mary couched it as, you know, if, you know, we're inviting third graders all the way up to sixth graders. We have to make sure that the topics are appropriate for 8-year-olds to 12-year-olds. So we, you know, we talked about that and broadened the scope to make it more focused on really her area of expertise, diversity, equity, and inclusion.
I think like right now, I guess it seems more like a pride club because I guess like Lauren answered my question. It's because it is Pride Month, which would make sense that they are focused on that currently. But the idea of a club where people are all inclusive and that's what they highlight, you know, diversity, acceptance, I think that's a great thing. But again, being caught off guard, like Anne said, I think I can see where parents are like, wait a minute, I didn't know about this kind of thing. But I think as far as having the club, I don't think there's anything wrong with it.
So I think that if it was just a pride club, that it would be so limited and singular, right? And kids also attention spans, like they're not gonna want to talk about the same issues month after month. So this is good that they can, you know, talk about different things. And I know that last year, the students in Parker and Michael's class, like talked about their learning disabilities and like educated their classmates so that it was sort of became a more inclusive environment and sort of debunked myths about things. And I think that this is probably the purpose of this as well, is to be, you know, educate each other on our differences. So if pride could be one of those things, being gay, their gender identity, whatever, but also, like you said, learning disabilities or maybe even religion.
Yeah. Race.
Yeah, I mean, all of it.
Yep.
You know, students who have all different needs, and if they have a safe place to talk, that's better than no place to talk.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I do have to run because I am at work, but if there needs to be a vote on the club, I vote to keep it, if that matters.
Okay, I don't know that we need to vote on the club because we've never voted on.
Okay.
the club. I just wanted to bring it up to the board because I wanted the board to know what was happening. And I wanted to have this conversation so that we could all be like on the same page. So
can I just ask,
Right.
like, when they do the play, the parents have to sign them up? Is that a club though, or it's just a play?
I don't know. I'm not
Well,
sure.
maybe one of the things we could do to, you know, kind of piggyback off of what Mary Beth said is that, you know, we're all about communication, right? So in the student handbook, that would be a great place to identify clubs that we have, you know, student council, the drama club, the joy club, and then a little blurb that if students are interested in starting a club, they, you know, need to approach the principal and or a staff member who they feel might want to sponsor the club, you know?
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. Just to have everything out in the open.
Yeah,
So we
yeah.
make
Yeah,
sure.
that's perfect.
I feel like
Honestly,
there was a flyer that went home in like Abby's folder about the Joy Club.
I'm
That-
sure there was, because
Yeah.
there's a beautiful flyer
Yeah.
on Mary's wall, or door rather, outside, you know, so people
Yeah.
can see and read about it.
There was a flyer that went home about the newspaper club when that was started, and
Yeah.
there was a flyer that went home about.
Yeah, there was never meant to be a secret thing. but-
No.
And I
think
do know
that-
things get lost in people's backpacks
Absolutely.
and parents don't necessarily see everything, but, you know, the intent was to make sure everybody at least knew that we had a Joy Club.
Yes. Thank you. All right. Well, thank you for that conversation. Why don't we move on?
Okay. I'm gonna head out, guys, but thank
Okay.
you.
Bye,
Okay,
Janet.
bye, Janet.
Bye.
All right. Was there anything else?
Nope.
Here? Principals report? We're gonna move on to standing committees. The personnel negotiations committee met. Donna, do you want to?
Yeah, personnel negotiation committee, and Jay and myself, and worked out of the principal's contract, which I would like to hand out and discuss in executive session later at the end of the meeting.
Okay. Technology and curriculum, let's see. No, right? Oh, wait, yeah. Okay. Finance policy. I think on policy. Jay is not here today. He was not feeling well, so we'll keep that for next time. Communications, Janet has just. Health and wellness, you have today.
Yes. I'm just gonna thank you for Mary Beth for printing this out. This is just an update on, Leandra Dillard, our nurse, and the school, through Lauren and Mary Beth will be sending out this letter to all, community members, staff, and families. Just to let them know that the executive orders from Governor Lamont have been lifted, so Torrington Area Health pretty much said it's up to the local boards to decide on COVID protocols. So we are going to return to our pre-COVID well and sick policy. So it just gives the, details about that. And I mean, it's pretty simple, just if you're not feeling well, stay home. And if they're, they have a fever, they have to stay home until they're fever free for 24 hours. No vomiting and diarrhea for 24 hours, no strep throat and conjunctivitis for 24 hours, same thing. So, and the same with the staff and administration. So this letter is going out. That's pretty much the main thing that we talked about, Mary Beth.
Yeah,
Do we have a policy on mask wearing, or did we have one pre-COVID?
We had the emergency sort of policy that the board we approved, but that's sort of null and void now because that went with the.
it was a
executive.
temporary policy that covered the board to adopt and implement all of the mandates, requirements, and executive orders. And back a few weeks ago, all of the emergency measures have been lifted across the state. So we're just following suit. So we no longer have to require people to stay home for 5 days or wear masks when they come back to school, whether they've tested positive or not. If they're symptom-free and not sick, they're allowed to come back to work, come back to
I was just
school.
thinking about students who might want to wear a mask. I know.
It's
I have
always
people-
been a prerogative. We have some kids who choose to wear a mask and they wear a mask. We've never taken that choice away, but we are not requiring a mask for any circumstance.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
That was pretty much. Oh, and Brooklyn Memorial is finishing up their cleanings and treatments, and we should be finishing those up by the end of the month. We still have 4 more years of the grant. So Keandra's looking for ways to try to get more students to participate. Since most of our students do have dental care. And they go for regular cleanings. Families probably think like, oh, I don't want to give my insurance. They don't need to do it, but it's covered. The students can come anyway. So hopefully next year we can get more participation from students on this.
Yeah, I always had the impression that if you have dental insurance, you shouldn't do it. But maybe the message should be, you have dental insurance, do it anyway, because
Right.
it doesn't hurt to extra clean your teeth.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So,
But like my thing, I told him like Michael has his cleaning on Friday. Like, well, if he got his teeth cleaned 3 weeks ago or, next week. Doesn't, I don't know. I probably could have done it twice if he could have used it. Probably. So, anything else I'm missing? No, that was it. No, try to get short.
and then,
Something non-controversial for once.
there you go. No taking Jane posters. All right, so shared services has not met. The PTO met yesterday.
I can't do, still says Mondays, it's Mondays,
It's Monday.
and I can't do Mondays.
They met yesterday and I joined virtually, but to give a quick couple of things. On June 30th will be the Friday, the PTO will be sponsoring the Friday Nights on the Green, which is super fun. Fridays at 6 o'clock, they'll be doing games and snow cones, a watermelon eating contest, fun stuff. I think it'll be a lot of fun. And so that's going to, they're going to do that, but probably not going to participate in the Win Weekend this summer. That has been kind of a difficult one to get going. So they're gonna give the focus to that over the summer and then be moving on to the ice cream social the next year. Chelsea Bottom is well healed now in the president and treasurer's positions, and Michelle Padua was there supporting her in fundraising ideas and things like that. But I think that there are definite openings in the PTO for people if they'd like to become involved. That'd be great. Okay, school safety and security.
We met earlier today. Of the things that we went over that I can discuss, I mean, just all, you know, all the regular drills and meetings with people, trainings, stuff like that have been proceeding at pace. We discussed when the new oil tank goes in, there will be fresh bollards put up for vehicular protection that are part of the contract with that. Tangentially, we discussed the fact that the slide will be supposedly going in soon. Not that that's
It is actually,
safe or secure.
tomorrow we go to the town security, the safety meeting, and it is on the agenda.
No.
Yes,
They said the beginning of June and it is June 6th, so.
they said the 9th is when the slide parts are being delivered. So Tyler's going to that meeting tomorrow and we'll see what.
We're gonna have to like put them
Well,
under armed guard.
We'll see what his update is tomorrow at 2.
Like, community watch. Okay,
But yeah, so aside from that,
okay,
everything's good.
everything's okay. Board of Finance,
We've not met the Board of Finance, the Board of.
Yep.
Right.
so our,
So, right.
go ahead. Or if Amy wants
The,
to talk about the Board of Finance.
Oh, right. Oh, never mind.
Next
No,
Tuesday.
we reported, like, we had the meeting at our
The-
last May meeting,
Well,
the
the
Board of Finance.
They canceled the last
the-
Board of Finance
Yeah,
meeting.
the
so
town
there
meeting was
hasn't been
held
one for-
and the town budget was passed with our
Yeah.
budget. in it.
Right,
Yes.
And they didn't have one in after that in May.
Right.
They canceled it. Okay.
okay.
And it's the summer.
We'll go tomorrow.
Anything to report from the back?
No, we're not met. The BAG committee has not met.
All right, we have a couple of items here under new business. Budget transfers.
Kathy included in the packet, the, to date, what she's able to do in terms of transferring things to balance out within the different areas of the budget. There are still a lot of outstanding invoices with the board meeting so early in the month. She doesn't have it extended out as far as she would have, but we are in very good shape. We'll be able to balance the budget within each of the budget areas. And then as always, by the end of June, we have to balance all of our books. And so there's an annual vote where the board grants me the authority to make that happen. And then we will share the result of that with you in August.
Motion to approve. Granting the superintendent
Superintendent permission.
the power to act through the summer months, make whatever transfers necessary to close out the 2022-2023 budget year.
Is there a second? Ginger seconds. All those in favor?
Thank you.
Approved.
We need to
Thank you.
approve these budget transfers.
Yeah, there's that one, the budget transfer that we need to. So let's see.
Approving the transfer of health and dental insurance for reduction, change in staff. That money goes down to oil for heating. Explanation being the oil price increase and building repairs for unexpected hot water tank replacement equals out. So vote to approve that.
You making a motion? Yeah.
Yep.
Second.
You decide, Kathy, who gets that? John and Ginger said at the same
No,
time.
I didn't second that. I was just asking.
Oh, okay. Okay, so motion made by Don and seconded by John. All those in favor? Okay, motion carries. All right. I think we now could use a motion to move to executive session to discuss personnel issues.
I will make a motion to move to executive session.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. we'll Stop the recording for a second.
I'm leaving.
If there's anything.
Motion to restart the regular meeting.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye.
We're back in regular meeting.
Okay.
So the Personnel Negotiation Committee met, that would be Mary Beth, Jay, and myself. And we have a principal's contract. Hopefully will be signed for 3 years. And y'all got to read it in executive session, so I need a motion to approve that this goes to be presented to Lauren.
Does anyone want to make that motion?
So moved with the amendment to 3.2.
Oh, thanks, yeah, 3.2 amendment.
Second. Okay,
And the
motion
Cape Cod.
made. What's that?
And the Cape Cod.
That's what she said. I think that's
Oh,
3.2
oh.
Cape Cod reference.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So a motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then that motion passes.
Did you get all that, John?
Wait, who seconded it?
Make a motion to adjourn the regular meeting of Amy and then Ginger.
Second,
And then motion to adjourn.
she did.
I know. There's no. Yeah. A
Okay,
Dory.
we adjourned to 7. Okay, sorry. So who moved in fast? And second.
Ginger moved. And Donna seconded the adjournment.
Adjourn. Yep.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. You're abstaining.